So let's just start about Shelter Island. What is it about?
Well, the title comes from a place at the east end of Long Island. It's an island situated between the South Fork and North Fork at the end of Long Island. It's the story or the images are primarily from this house that we rented, me and my wife and my two kids, last summer, and that was the third year that we rented it. So I was quite familiar with it and wanted to make pictures there. And initially, I'd intended to just make pictures of my wife there, and things sort of took a turn, and then suddenly it became about the place rather than just one person, and then the kids started showing up in the images, and it sort of took its own course there.
And what was your first intent? Did you just want to, was there a specific combination, something about your wife in that place? Or?
Well, initially I was thinking of it as a way to make these sort of to mess up the edition idea within photography, and to have these sort of very similar portraits of Nancy that would be somehow editioned and unique at the same time. So that was kind of my simple goal, was to sort of disrupt the problem of the edition photograph, which quickly took a turn, and like I said, sort of took its own course. So
and now you have all these unique pictures.
And now I have all these individual pictures that are traditionally editioned.
Yes.
I see. Okay. So it is a failure in a way, but failure of intent. But as we were talking about in the cafe earlier, I think that's very much a part of not just my practice, but a lot of people's practice. But there's you start with an intent, and then oftentimes the best idea is the one that you discover, rather than the one you sort of pre-assign yourself.
Yeah, and we talked also about the fact that you discover a lot in your own work that was commissioned as well.
Right.
And these works that are not or are used in your commissioned work or editorial work, do you see those as initial failures as well?
No, because I think they're so particular to assignments, but also like it's something that I've done for a long time, so they often feel personal to me as well. And so they kind of they become, an assigned work. Like, for example, the Pamela Anderson piece in the show was initially shot for Gentlewoman magazine, and it was a thing where I didn't ask to shoot, or they gave me that assignment, but it was a great assignment for me, and certainly, like, Pamela Anderson and I are the same age, just about, and so I remember seeing her, like, I sort of grew up with Pamela Anderson or something, and so there was that sort of relationship to the image of Pamela Anderson for me, and so in that particular case, it was something that I had no intent in bringing it into this body of work, but as I was editing, back after having shot the pictures for the Shelter Island story, that image in particular kept, making it through the edit, and that picture suddenly became integral to the Shelter Island story as a sort of something from outside that was representing both, like, she just seemed to capture a bunch of things, like terms of like
Passing sign.
yeah, but representational. Also, like she's Pamela Anderson, the real person, but she's also this mythic figure, and representing that sort of end of summer thing simultaneously. Even though like we can get those grapes year round now, so that's part of it too for us. Like so.
Artificial.
Multiple ironies, and those are the things that are sort of interesting to me. And she's Canadian. My wife's Canadian.
Like your wife. It's everywhere. When did you actually start making or working on assignments?
When I moved to New York in 1997, I had been assisting photographers. I moved from Atlanta, was assisting catalog photographers in Atlanta, moved to New York and started assisting there, but also had already shown my work. I had a solo show in New York in '97 and was working in the galleries, or showing in the galleries from then. And one of the photographers I was working for introduced me to an editor at the New York Times Magazine, and she said, "Oh, you should, do this textile assignment." And I thought, this is great. Like I could actually make a lot more money shooting than assisting.
Yeah.
But also, I didn't really know much about it, so I sort of thought you had to have a license or something, or some kind of like be a part of the union or something. So I was a little paranoid to start because I thought like they were going to ask me for my, union ID or something. But they never did, and I got a check, and it was like, this is really great.
Yeah.
Maybe even better than going to grad school.
Well, you could link it, of course, to previous work.
Right.
We also have this in the booklet, but
it
could be.
Well, I wouldn't say it's like part of a trilogy or anything like that. There is a sort of repeated coastal theme, starting with the Rockaway book and also in County Line, Rockaway Redux, and Shelter Island. So there was something, I think that's part of the thread in Shelter Island as well. Yeah. It's not an explicit ecological commentary, but there's something, perhaps like, yes, this is temporary, this landscape, this beach, this bulkhead, this beachfront, I think that's part of it. Like I said, it's not something that I think of as like, it's a 5-part series on, global warming, but it's
apocalyptic.
Like, yeah. But definitely, I see it in the work, and I see it in other stuff. Like I just discovered an hour-and-a-half walk that I did with the kids last spring in Fort Tilden, which is an old army barracks place on Rockaway on the peninsula, and it's totally like post-apocalyptic J. Crew catalog, and I think it's really, it's like just one of those things. It's just there, for me. So.
Yeah, and it's nice how your work keeps on surprising you as
well. Right. Yeah, it was something like when I shot the piece, I was thinking like, maybe I'll get something out of this. I don't know, maybe one or two.
Yeah.
And at that point, still, I was really hesitant to include pictures of the kids.
Yeah.
Because it felt like something that I had been so vehemently against when I was in art school, like trying to define myself as not Sally Mann, not Nan Golden, but I'm a German objective photographer living in Atlanta or something.
Yeah, so no kids.
No kids, no personal
life.
And so, like, over the years, that thing has changed so much, and obviously it's become that sort of duality between the sort of anonymous image and the sort of family, deeply personal image. And I guess, in a way, it's about decontextualizing both of those things so that they can exist in a different way for the viewer. And it can be a kind of a little bit more mysterious rather than explicit. One of the things that we've been talking about is the notion of intent
Yeah.
versus discovery, and you can't really have one without the other, but sometimes you drop the intent when the discovery is better than something, or you discover despite your best intentions, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so earlier in the summer, I was really, I would say like, it's not writer's block, it's like photographer's block or whatever, having a hard time knowing what to do, and I started taking pictures of the weeds in the backyard of my studio, because it was like just as basic and as close as you could get.
Yeah.
And, you know, like
Same.
grounding,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and ubiquitous, you know, like, you know, forever growing. And so, yeah, I think that was sort of a mantra of the summer, was like, just keep it close at hand.
Mm-hmm.
And then that turned into like a literal theme in Shelter Island, where it was like that sort of like, everything was about this handheld
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, also with the iPhone, of course.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
switches you make, but that's quite obvious.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like this is
Going on to things.
for all the technology that that we encounter and that's impressive in our lives or whatever, this is the iRobot
Yeah.
part, you know, you cannot not have. In fact, I this phone must have slipped out on the plane last night and slid back to the seat, the
Yeah.
row behind me, and even though I knew it was there,
Panic.
like watching Star Wars, and like, I can't watch this anymore. I gotta ask the lady.
Yeah.
You should see if you can find my phone back there. You know, it's like what am I gonna do? You know, like it's in
Yeah, you're-
Amsterdam.
I was addicted to you. I already noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.